the most important question on your plate is how do you create an environment for work that inspires extraordinary contribution, that merits an outpouring of imagination and initiative and passion. It just so happens that that's the design question behind one of the most remarkable and successful cultures of innovation I've ever encountered in 20 plus years of looking for this stuff. And it's the culture of Pixar animation studios. I probably don't need to introduce you to them. They are a creative juggernaut of the first order. 15 feature films, 15 #1 box office hits. Scores of Oscars for both technical and artistic achievement, billions at the box office. They have reinvented the art of animation and the technology behind it. And what's amazing is they are as driven to create an environment and systems for work that produces maximum creativity, collaboration, and productive learning as they are about making their beautiful films. And the singular question behind their singular design for work is this: how do you do art as a team sport? That's a beautiful question, and I would submit a very relevant question for all of you in this room. And before I tell you how they answer it, let me set the stage. I don't know if any of you have visited Pixar's headquarters in Emeryville. They're not in LA, of course, they're in the Bay Area. And you kind of drive along for what seems like miles, this very imposing brick and iron fence, and then you get to the guardhouse and they check your credentials for what seems like a very, very long time. And then finally, you get back your visitor badge and you look at it and it says, "A stranger from the outside." And you get this sense of, wow, what a magic factory. What must it feel like to cross that transom every single day? And you know, it is a true palace for the people, right? It's a gorgeous campus with rolling hills and amphitheaters and Olympic-sized pools. It's an old Del Monte factory that they renovated. And the key feature is this atrium, this open atrium that's buzzing with people on scooters and bikes and having meetings and sitting at one of the many restaurants and playing pool, you name it. When Steve Jobs, one of the co-founders of Pixar, was trying, obviously very known for being meticulous about detail, his one sticking point with the facilities people is that he only wanted one set of restrooms in the entire campus, and he wanted it to be in the atrium. And this was a big fight. Finally, I think he lost the fight because they said this was just not going to work for health and safety reasons. But what they got instead was this great mailroom. This is like the mailroom you had in college when you went and you bumped into people you hadn't seen for a long time, rather than sitting at your desk like an executive pasha, getting it delivered to you. So, as you walk through Pixar's headquarters, the first answer to that question, how do you do art as a team sport, starts to emerge. And it's make the workplace a canvas for the art, which in the case of Pixar is storytelling. Storytelling is plastered over every square inch of the space, from Story Corner, which is an interactive exhibit breaking down the art of storyboarding, to exhibits of the art from the current film, 3D art, sculpture, color boarding, you name it. The personal art of people, Pixarians who have their own practice. You see this in what's called the animators pit. So the animators were offered the cushy offices around the perimeter of the building with sunlight and doors and all of that. And they said, no, we need to be together. We need to be in a scrum. So again, the facilities people said, fine, you're on your own. You get the bowels of the building. And what they did is they went out to Home Depot and they bought these garden sheds, these off-the-shelf garden sheds. And then they pimped them out like you have never seen. We've got, this is kind of a boring one, Lego castle, tiki huts, Wild West villages. This is my favorite. This is like a Downton Abbey-esque library, and you push the bust of Beethoven, this door cracks open, and all of a sudden you're like in a mod 70s Vegas lounge. They give you a smoking jacket and a Pim's cup, I'm not kidding, and you have a little moment. It's just, creativity, story just is pouring out of every crevice of the place. And it's not just about the design of the physical space, it's also about their rituals as an organization. After every major project, they have a post-mortem or a science fair where they gather the entire organization and they really grapple over their mistakes, their lessons, new technology that they've created, and they share it widely. Every single day, there's an open screening of the dailies of the current film that they're working on. Again, everyone's invited to it, and colleagues just sort of meticulously critique your work and progress. They prosecute every square inch of the film, and their mantra for these sessions is this. I quite like this bumper sticker. They just keep saying it to each other, right? I think this should be a bumper sticker. So the lesson I think that you can pull from this are really two insights, two takeaways. And the first is, at Pixar, you can't help but bump into work in progress everywhere, whether it's displayed on the walls or you go to these sessions. And the message is, your voice matters. I don't care if you're a production assistant or you're a designer or you're a technologist. You might have something to add. You might have a question. You might have a build or an insight. And where most organizations kind of hoard and sequester information by level, need-to-know basis, just to control people, Pixar was relentlessly creative about sharing information to align people. The second takeaway is Pixar has developed this incredible facility with failure, with mistakes, with misdirection and fumbles. It's simply how they make progress there. They get, when you're trying to invent something new, it's called trial and error is part of the game. But for them, mistakes aren't kind of shameful as they are in some organizations. You don't kind of hide them under the rug. Instead, they're to be shared and picked apart and squeezed for every last ounce of juicy inspiration. And I think the result is you see this relatively fearless culture where people are really open to their colleagues' notes and challenges and builds and criticism, and everybody is genuinely invested in each other's success. There's one other answer to this question that I just want to briefly cover. How do you do art as a team sport? And that's to put everybody on the same team. At Pixar, you can't help but hearing this phrase, everyone a filmmaker, everyone a filmmaker. Let's make a filmmaker-based decision. Every meeting you go to, everything you sit in on, you hear that phrase repeated. And why? Well, if you're working for Pixar Animation Studios, you better be making filmmaker-based decisions. Now, they understand that that's kind of harder for a PA or an accountant or a finance person than it is for somebody who's a director or an animator. So they've created a way to help people make filmmaker-based decisions. It's called Pixar University. It's a state-of-the-art corporate university, but there's nothing corporate about it. That's based in the backyard of the headquarters. Everyone is expected to spend at least 4 hours a week there. You know how busy your week is. Exploring 150 courses, a full filmmaking curriculum, creative writing, improv, sculpture, belly dancing, you name it. And the point is, they're not just taking courses in filmmaking or lighting. They're learning to see their work in new light, to think of their work like artists, to be more courageous, to be more curious, to be more open, to be more observant, and to work more deeply with each other. I got to tell you, taking a course, there's nothing more humiliating than sitting next to a Disney-trained animator when you can't even draw a stick figure in a drawing class. And this happens all the time. People have different talents of different things, and they fumble and they flail together, and they develop that sort of social fabric that's so crucial for innovation. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and build a corporate university, but you can learn a lot from the power of when you put a premium on continually learning new things and learning things together inside an organization.